Hello, everybody. Uh, Here we are, back live, listening to some CB. We're kind of fun gang. I rarely listen to the CB band, but I was looking for E-skip or anything, but I found this. So 27135 is what, channel 15, something like that. And it's a bunch of truckers that came to Montreal together for one reason. And Montreal, like every big city, is a very complex thing with a car or a truck. And these guys don't come from Montreal; they come from outside. So they were kind of a little lost. So they were helping each other for the past hour, go through and giving directions. It was kind of nice, kind of a nice. CB is often the place where there's a lot of idiots. But this was an example of CB as a interesting and civilized use. So it's kind of cool. Here we go. So this works. Hey everybody. Hope everybody is fine. Let me open this here. And wow, the chat room is actually much better using dark mode. I enabled dark mode in YouTube, and I like it because it's really showing a much better. It's actually easier on the eyes than reading from the white background. And here we go. Hello everyone, welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave show. And yes, I know the dates were not right on the postings, but the problem is I have no control. It's some kind of glitch with YouTube when I post. I change the date, everything seems alright, but it just doesn't show up correctly. And it's kind of bizarre, but the way it works. So, how is everybody? Everybody enjoyed yesterday's BBC Midwinter broadcast, hopefully. So let's just put this like here, and we're pretty much good to go. So hey everybody, welcome. Nice to have you here, as usual. And this is the Shortwave radio show. We are here every Fridays at the fantastic 2000 hours Universal Time. And of course we're here to talk about radio. I'm trying to find why. Okay, oh, here it goes. Okay. So here we go, like this. So hey everybody, welcome aboard, and of course we are here every Fridays, and at 2000 hours UTC, and of course we are in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is a show about radio. We talk about radio, shortwave radio in particular, and we have a lot of fun. And I hope everybody enjoys today's broadcast. As usual, I've got my beer, fin du monde. Hello there. And nice to have you on board. So, I was listening to some CBers helping each other. It was kind of nice. Pretty cool to have everybody here. Hello there in chat room, MDK2, PLF Radio from France, PA1WX from the Netherlands, Jerry DX, nice to have you here. Blanchard, nice to have you on board. M0ISA from the UK. Bobby Burgess, WA5107SWL is the listener call sign. Dan Walsh, nice to have you here from the Concrete Jungle. Pretty much the same here. Jim McMullen, a bunch of truckers, silent F. It's kind of nice. It's I rarely listen to the CB. There's not a lot of activity in the CB band, honestly. Steve in Australia, nice to have you here. 26DR261, hello there. Jack N9IIF from Byron, Illinois. Nice to have you on board. William Helms in Florida. Pretty cool. Nice to have you here. Radio Kuwait. Radio Kuwait on 17550. Let's check it out. Let's check it out here. 17550. And there's something weak, but it's not there. It doesn't really make it here in Montreal much. So, David Arden, nice to have you on board. Didn't get any notifications about the webcast. Glad I checked on YouTube. Cool. You know, if you remember, I'm here at 2000 UT on Fridays. You know I'll be here. Are conditions going to improve over the weekend? Well, they are already pretty good. And what I would think is that through the weekend, we might not have as good conditions because there's a solar wind stream that's heading our way a little bit. So we might have some minor geomagnetic storming. I saw on the notes today that there was actually so there's a big sunspot, a huge sunspot on the sun. It actually quadrupled in size in 48 hours. And it's crackling with C flares. And they're saying that one of the C flares was strong enough that actually there was a shortwave radio blackout on the sunlit side of Earth below 10 megahertz earlier today. So, you know, there's interesting activity. And solar flux above 80, it's kind of cool because it's really helping improve propagation. Nick Amendelt from Romania, nice to have you here. K6YYL, Kimberly from California, nice to have you here. MEC, greetings from Pennsylvania. Hello there, welcome aboard. And as PLF Radio is sharing SolarFlux 82, K index of 1, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, really nice. Mark Cope, happy Friday. Vivons de la bière et accordons les bandes. Dave Tott, distracted driving laws will be the nail in the CB coffin. You know, there's, here we had, of course, a couple of years back, they passed a law for cell phone communications. And the way that it was actually done, there was part of the law that seemed to say that you shouldn't have anything in your hands, so like a CB radio or amateur radio. Then it was found out that no, amateur radio is not included in there. But the thing is, and you know, it's not a cell, it's not like having your cell phone, but let's face it, you know, even amateur radio or CB radio is a little distracting when you're driving. Basically, anything else than driving that you do is a distracting thing. So, you know, you got to be careful. And, you know, they're actually making tougher laws now for cell phone use in the car because, let's face it, there's a law for cell phone use, but everybody's using their cell phone in the cars. It's crazy. Here, nobody is observing that rule. So, and I think, you know, we need to do something about it. I think I saw a study that said that using your cell phone while driving is the equivalent of being drunk and driving. And actually, there was a fun episode of Mythbusters that kind of goes in that direction. They had them use their cell phone while driving a obstacle course, and they did the same with a certain amount of alcohol, and typically it was even worse with the cell phone. Jerry DX, nice to have you here, says calling for rain in the weekend. Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend here too. Tomorrow I think it's cloudy and around 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. Sunday rain around 75 Fahrenheit, something like that. So it's going to be a rather gray weekend, but it's a beautiful day today, for sure. David Snyder, hey there. Is Tom Strong on? I don't know. Today was the WTWW stuff, if I'm not mistaken. I need to check the schedule for that. What frequencies are they using? Anybody can pose the frequencies for the WTWW Field Day event, because tomorrow. Oh no, it's tomorrow. I'm mixed up. I think I'm Saturday. It's Friday. There's going to be tomorrow. Of course, we'll talk about it. Field Day. There's WTWW that's actually doing some events tomorrow. I don't know why. I think I'm Saturday, but we're Friday. Rock Ristorante. Nice to have you here, Risto. It's M0SBT in Stockholm, Sweden. Nice to have you on board. Buster Brown. Nice to have you here. WA0092SWL is listener call sign. TOT. Pretty good. Not bad at all. Been bad at all. A little tired. I don't know why. I've been tired for a little while. Paul Smith, hey there, says 2E0 RTE mobile, 14160. Let's check that out. 14160. Hearing anything here? Check it out. See if we hear something there. There is a signal a little higher here. So let's see if we hear something in here. Tim Lewis, nice to have you on board from the east end of Long Island, New York. And no problem. Propagation poor. Yeah, well, it's not that bad. I had some interesting signals, but it's still early, we still have several hours before sunset. Vancouver Island DXer, hey there, nice to have you here, Brian. VE7AUL and VE7011SWL. Dan Walsh, can you comment on the Texan 9700DX? Okay, I don't own one, but I have seen posts from several people that do own one. And most people seem to be kind of happy with that receiver. I'm just gonna check here to make sure that I'm not mistaking it for another receiver, but we are talking here about the Texan 9700DX. So yeah, it's on 12-band dual conversion receiver. So it's what I find interesting about this receiver is it's how expensive it is. How expensive it is. I just heard my phone vibrate, and I'm trying to find where I put it. It's somewhere here or here. I don't know. It's somewhere. My phone is somewhere to be found. Anything here? Where the hell's my phone? I have no idea where I put my phone, which is not a big problem. Anyways, I just heard it. Oh, it's there. There you go. So I'm just gonna silence the ring. Okay, so it's an analog radio. What's interesting about it is how expensive it is for an analog radio. Texan brands it as a high-performance portable receiver. Most reports that I've seen, people seem to be extremely happy. Now, that said, if I would spend $50 on a portable receiver, I would buy a Texan PL 380 rather than buying that thing, because it performs really well and you've got a frequency display. I have a lot of difficulty thinking you can pay 50 or 60 bucks for that analog radio. It's kind of expensive for what it is. So I would get a Texan PL 380 or something, for sure. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? WTWW 15810. Yeah, right now we're on 15810. Let's try that. You hear anything here? So I know tomorrow we're going to have a special day of broadcasts for the field day, amateur radio field day. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. Nick Amendel says, I read it takes at least 3 seconds to look at the cell phone while driving. So imagine how many meters you make with a car in that period. Quit using the phone and driving. Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of people that died because of that for sure. Daxfar74, nice to have you here from Germany. Um, yeah, maybe that's it. But yeah, PLF Radio, you're right. Probably because I did a unannounced show yesterday. So, oh, okay, yeah, David Snyder. Tommy's W2XQ. I live in New Jersey. Well, who knows? I'll be looking at that. You never know. You never know. And thanks for promoting and giving information. Like a lot of people have been promoting me. There's a Voice of the Report of the Week that actually gave me a big plug for what I do here, and which was pretty nice. And there's this weird thing flying around. So thanks everybody for doing it, and it's always nice to have all of you here. What else? What else? Brett Wayne, KC2NXP, nice to have you on board from Salamanca, New York. Always nice to have you here. Mad Radio DXer, hello there. Hello there. What else do we have? So yeah, yesterday I did the quick show for the BBC midwinter broadcast. Tim Lewis, does that large computer kick out much RFI? Which computer are you talking about? Out of curiosity. Right now, I'm using the HP desktop that's behind the screen. This is not a computer; it's a Sony TV. So maybe you mean this TV as a computer. This is just a TV. Honestly, the Sony TV here, yes, sometimes it does show there's a little bit of interference when, for example, the background is all white. So, for example, if I do this to show there's a white background with this text, when I go back, in some parts of the display, I will see in the SDR that there is a little bit more noise, but it's overall very quiet. The HP computer that I'm using is also very quiet. And here I'm using a Toshiba laptop right now with Ubuntu Linux. That is also very quiet. The power supply, the original Toshiba power supply, is very quiet also. So every time I set up to do a live show, typically what I do is I set up with the most quiet of all the devices so that it doesn't interfere too much with my shortwave listening. But that said, I do have interference coming from some stuff around me, absolutely. Absolutely. MEC says, could you comment on the device on top of your ICOM 8600? Looks like an audio filter, maybe a DSP. Yeah, if you're talking about the DSP 40 here, which is that was the first DSP device that I've found. It was sold by Radio Shack in the 90s for $100. And at $100, it was I found it too expensive. And one day they had a clearance sale, and I got it. I got it for like $39. So at $39, I thought, okay, that's the price I'm ready to pay. So I brought it home. The good and the bad. So it's a DSP 40. If you want to search it on Google, just type realistic DSP 40. It's an audio filter after all. It says DSP, but honestly, that thing dates from, 1990, 92? So it is the most basic form of digital signal processing possible. I used it a lot for one main reason, two main reasons. One is because it has an amplifier, a 10 watt amplifier, 8 or 10 watt amplifier. It easily drives any outboard speaker that I actually put on it. So for the audio amplifier that it has, I like it for that. The other thing is it has a lot of filtering. So you can actually use audio filters and filter down. So if you want to listen to CW, just listen to Morse code signals, for example. Well, it's easy because you just put the CW filter in the size, the very, very small audio size, and you hear only that, even if the band is full or crowded of signals, it actually strips down the other frequencies, so you hear only the CW signal you like. And it has like a 500 hertz audio filter. So for the filtering, it's nice. For the DSP portion that it's supposed to offer, it doesn't offer that much, honestly, and it sometimes is worse than what it should be. But still, it is, for the price paid, I'm happy to have it, and I'm happy to always have it on any receiver that I use a lot. And one of the major cool aspects of it is the notch, the auto notch. When a little whistle blows, shows up on one frequency you're listening to, a little whining tone or a little heterodyne, it doesn't even take a second that it just clips it off. And it doesn't clip off only one. If there's 3 or 4, it's going to clip off all 3 or 4 at the same time. And it does it automatically. You don't have to, tune in. On the Kenwood R5000, I had a notch filter, which was useful, but the problem with the notch filter was dreadfully difficult to notch out a tone because it was very, very, very small increments you had to do, and sometimes you'd go too fast. You just didn't notice that you just passed over it. So that is cool for that because the auto notch is amazing. I think it's the best feature of that thing. Auto notch is just truly amazing. But overall, if you find one for 20, if you find one in a garage sale or ham fest for $20, I think it's worth it to have for most people because some of the filtering and some of the things that it can do is actually nice to have. But it is all audio, so it's not like modern receivers with digital signal processing are much more complex and do much more things. Just the computer here. There's a lot of, hey, I caught it. I'll just put it here. I'll put it on this side. Well, I'm fast today. Okay. Let's put it in the back here. No accidents today. So that was fast. I'm amazed at how fast I got it. I guess playing baseball when I was young was a good thing. So all the DSP that happens here is, it's truly amazing. That just with HDR, it's vastly superior to anything that thing does. It's very basic, honestly, but it's nice to have. So, hey, William Helms, nice to have you here. Anything else? Let's check it out. Vancouver Island DX a few days ago got a spool of copper-clad steel antenna wire, hoping that it will survive wind in the trees longer than a couple of my previous antennas. That's also something interesting because over the years I've hooked up a lot of antennas, usually using copper wire. And the thing is, the copper wire, some of the antennas I made were actually just wires thrown in a tree. And the thing is, when there's thunderstorms or big storms, the winter storms, the tree just dangles from left to right. You got to give it some slack. But whether you give it slack or not, because it's always moving, it's at some point it does snap. It's unfortunate, but it's part of, especially when you use anything that actually moves a lot. That's what I like about the sloper I've got now because I've set it up. There's no trees, no nothing. And even though I did give just a little bit slack, it's actually tight enough that it doesn't really have much happening. The only thing that might be happening is when, if we have an ice storm, for example, things like that. Indicate 2, I missed that. Did Joe say there's a show tomorrow for Field Day? I'm not sure yet. Okay. If there is one, I'll announce it as early as possible as I can tomorrow. But this weekend is Field Day, and we're going to talk about that. So, Bobby wants to try out becoming a ham. Yeah, who knows? Andy Coley, nice to be here. Nice to have you here. We'll be working 40 meters all day tomorrow at 2E0 or EE. So that's cool. So any others out there are going to be in the field day tomorrow, let us know. It'd be fun to know who's on field day tomorrow. Jerry says activity on 27025. Yeah, handheld transceivers, why not? And move up. Mark H, nice to have you here. I just received a Radio Shack DSP thing you have. Which audio port do I connect it in an older 80s Kenwood ham radio? Well, typically you would actually, if it has a speaker output. So if your old Kenwood has a speaker out in the back for audio out for the speaker, that's where you're going to put it. And you'll plug in don't use the speaker that's part of the DSP. Okay, plug a decent speaker on the audio out of that DSP unit. The speaker in the DSP is not that bad, but it's better to have an outboard speaker. But typically what we would do is you would plug it to the audio out that you probably have in the back of your Kenwood receiver. The same one that you would plug in, most of these Kenwoods had a matching speaker that you could buy. Most of them use that 1/8 audio plug, regular audio plug, and that's where you'd plug in the DSP, and then you'd plug the speaker in the output of the DSP. What else do we have? David Snyder's receiving 15610 WWN, and here it is.
Beyond that, but he will always come back well.
That's one of my.
The scripture does that. Yeah. So he's pretty much thoroughly looped.
That's one of my beacons that I will use to just try out the shortwave radio. If I get a new shortwave receiver just for the fun of it, I will often, try 15610. It's one of those that's almost always there. Almost always there. What else do we have? David Arden loves his notch, the auto notch on his 7100. Auto notch is so cool. Auto notch is so cool because, no effort. It just stops. TOT says the worst feeling in the world is coming out of your car and dropping your radio and the display is scratched. You know what's worse about the ICOM ICR20, the one that almost dropped to the floor a few minutes ago? The display is slightly curved outside, like a little bubble. And what's sad is that when you put it, so if I clip it to my belt and you don't think about it, then you'll brush against a wall or brush against something, and it is scratched. It has a few scratches already, and it's sad because that's one thing. Mad Radio DXer says, with reflexes like that, you would be in my soccer team. That was an amazing reflex. Jerry says R20 shattering in 1,000 pieces. Oh, and you know what? It fell down. It fell down the kitchen table to the floor twice. So it already has passed the endurance test of a radio falling on the floor. Fabrice Simonet, bonjour, bienvenue. Hi there, welcome aboard. And it's nice to. That reflex, I tell you guys, is when I was playing. I played a lot of baseball when I was young. The only way I can account for that reflex being fast enough to get the radio before it falls to the floor is because of my baseball playing years. I can't see anything else. And the precision also. It's not just the getting the radio before it falls to the ground, but also it was smack in the middle of my hand, ready to be grabbed. It's just funny. So I still got it. I'm almost 50. I still got it. Fabrice received his Ethon Field BT yesterday. Love it. Cool. Looks like a great radio. Almost everybody that I've seen that has it is happy with it. Would a DSP filter work on medium wave? Yeah, anywhere. You can use it almost anywhere, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah. Jerry X says, if it would have been my R20 falling, I would have said, the show is over, folks. David Arden says, when I played baseball as a kid, I enjoyed getting up to bat and getting my 3 strikes. I had a lot of fun playing baseball. And everybody wanted me in his team because I was pretty good. Pretty good. Also, the fact that I had all the equipment. So when somebody would want to play and didn't have anything, I'd say, hell, I got tons of equipment at home. Come, I'm going to find you something. And so that also made me very popular for those that wanted to play baseball because I got all the stuff. Same for the hockey. I was the only one that had 2 hockey nets. I had 2 hockey nets, 4 hockey sticks, and so everybody wanted to play with me because, like, when I was young, it was not that complicated. We just put the nets in the side of the street and we would play. Today, you'd get arrested by the cops for doing that, which I find completely stupid. But we would set up the nets, and everybody had, like, even my friends that didn't have any hockeys. Okay, look, I got 4. I only need 1 to play, and I'd set up the net. So I was a popular guy because of that. I had all the equipment for the sports. So, but I played hockey a little bit, but I was not enjoying playing hockey that much. I was enjoying the time with friends, but hockey was not my big thing. Baseball was my big thing. Baseball was going to the park, and if the baseball field was already taken, we'd go to the other end of the park, and we'd create our own baseball field with rocks for the first, second, and third base, and we just set up as we can and play. That was the fun part. Now here in the park, what they've done here in the park is remove the baseball field and they replaced it with a soccer field. Tells you the times are changing. So we got a soccer field now. And I personally, and I respect everybody that loves it, but I personally don't care for soccer. But I know a lot of people are big fans, and we have a lot of people. I see the popularity rising of soccer, but I personally don't really care about it. Oh man. Jerry says, I've never seen Jill move that fast ever. Maybe to reach for a beer. That guy's quick. Even the beer is not that fast. My beer would have fallen down. It would have fallen on the floor. That thing was like, dope. Got it. Guys, far 74 says don't like soccer championship. 2 more Germans there, right? Yeah. Jerry says that's why the Habs are not doing well. Let the kids put on their nets. Yeah. Here it's crazy. I tell you, there's I think it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we had a story in the newspaper of kids. Their parents got tickets because they set up nets in the street. And I'm not talking a street where there's a lot of traffic. I'm talking about a little neighborhood street where there's 1 car per hour. And the police passed by, gave the parents tickets because they had set up in the street to play hockey. And that was an outrage. A lot of people were like, whoa, come on. We all did that as a kid. I did that as a kid. I don't know how many times we set up in the street. The cops would not say anything. We were, intelligent enough. Maybe that's the thing, We were intelligent enough to okay, car's coming. We're going to stop playing, let the car pass, and we'll continue after. It's like, what the hell, Just crazy. I find these rules so pathetic today. Zach Antle, hey, didn't miss much except my really fast reflexes to save a falling radio. Oh, man. Andrea DX says, shame, Joel, you would have been my first choice goalkeeper. Well, you know what? I would probably be not too bad. As long as I'm not, at my age, what is the thing about that is you get scared of being hit by whatever object. It's not the same as when you're young. I mean, when I was young, I got the balls and I got the I played soccer. I did play soccer a little bit in gym school. We had soccer. There was sometimes we would have soccer, and I mean I got that ball in the face a few times. It's part of playing. Just crazy. As far as Formula One fan, my nephew Gabby is a big Formula One fan. So. Karim Rashid, nice to have you here. Which Texan radio is better in shortwave receiving, a Texan PL380 or the Texan R9012? Well, simple answer. If you have one to buy the Texan PL380. As simple as that. And one of the major reasons why is that there's a digital display on it, so you will know what frequency you're tuned to. Where the R9012 being an analog radio with a little needle, you're not always sure exactly where you are. Also, I would say that the Texan PL380 is more sensitive than the Texan R9012 because it uses that DSP chip, the 4734 or something like that. And that chip, which is a full radio within the chip, honestly. Pretty much every radio that has that chip performs quite well in general. So get the PL380. Just don't scratch your head. If you can get the 380, that's where you need to get. You'll be happier with that radio than the R9012. I would say that Texan R9012 is a good entry level for somebody that doesn't have a lot of money because it costs less than $20. Which typically for most people you can grab, find yourself a 20 somewhere at some point. Texan PL380 is double the price, but you get double the good and triple the good, I would even say. So it's worth it to pay a little more for 380. Drifter UK, nice to have you on board in 3CSB. Team Lewis, what is that old analog radio behind you? Yeah, this is the Grundig Satellite Transistor 6001. It is also known as the Grundig Satellite 210. And this is a 1969 portable receiver that is the most amazing thing I have seen radio-wise. I mean, what is interesting with this is that the technology used, the engineering used in here is truly, truly amazing. This is the most amazing radio I've ever seen for 1969, and it's it is a Grundig, and it's crazy. That thing is crazy, crazy nuts. I got a review of it on my channel if you want to learn a little more. Jerry says must have been the bitch cop again. Yeah, I don't know, but man. Douglas Elliott, nice to have you on board. And cool. Nice to have to cut a BBC broadcast. I should have done, I don't know why I didn't think about it earlier. It's when Bobby Burgess kind of sent me a message saying, hey, it'd be fun if you do a special broadcast for the BBC Midwinter. And I was lying down on the couch because for the past 2 days I have a dreadful back pain. And I was lying down on the couch because it's one of the only positions where I was kind of okay. And I'd taken, painkillers, so I was like, that relaxes you kind of a lot more. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's an idea. And it was about half an hour, a little more than half an hour before the show, the BBC Midwinter broadcast. And I thought, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And but I was kind of in pain, so I was like, yeah, I don't know what will I do. But the painkiller kicked in like in 20 minutes, and I was almost okay. So I thought, okay, the back is not too bad. Let's do the live show. So today my back hurts a little bit. It's better than yesterday, and it's funny because I never have back aches. It's something that I don't know really much. When I hear people saying, "Hey, I got back aches," it's like, what? I don't have that, and I think it's just because I cleaned the windows, and one of the windows was dreadfully difficult to put back, and I really really worked hard to put it back, and I think I strained a muscle or something just putting it back. You know what? When you get to 50 years old, you got to be careful what you're doing. Mark Cope says Radio Sana on 11860. Anything here? Anything here? There's not much here. There's something on 11. There's Saudi Arabia 11820.
Bajo los enfoques fundamentales.
11820. Saudi Arabian 11820. And the K2 says, I played soccer as a kid, but goal was not my position. Jumping in front and kick balls went against all my instincts. In front of kick balls, yeah. It is, you know, you kind of want to go away from a really fast moving ball rather than staying there. Karim Rashid says, I'm from Kurdistan region, North Iraq. Wow. Nice to have you here, Karim. From northern Iraq. David Arden, I have one of the last Sony radios. A Texan would have been my second choice. Dex Fire says, for me, the XH Data 808 is the best radio of all time. I need to find a way. You know, there's a few radios that a few people, you know, a few times that I could have purchased the X Data 808, and I want actually maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, I had my tax returns, and I really wanted to have an X Data 808, and of course, the telephone needs to ring every time I do a live show. So the X Data 808. And the lowest price I could find was about 180 Canadian. I thought it's too expensive for a radio. I don't want to spend that amount. If I'm to spend 180, I'll spend it in 2 or 3 different receivers instead, and I'll talk about them. But I know some of you had it below 100. Andrew the Extra says, I used to play as a goalkeeper or a central defender. It was not very good, but my strength was heading the ball. Hey, Richard Cook, nice to have you on board. Steve Kirls, nice to have you here on N80DY in Detroit. Nice to have you here, Steve. Killer Fredo says, now there are some BBC Antarctica midwinter broadcast videos on YouTube. Yeah, there are several. A lot of people actually did post their BBC Midwinter broadcast on YouTube. There's a lot of the recordings. Yesterday, the Brazil receivers were really, really nice. I can tell you that. So, will you try other SDRs tonight? Yeah, maybe. Why not? Yesterday we did that a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll go with the flow. With the flow. I was thinking about you, Richard. I was trying the RWM time signal on 14996 just before the show, and also tried 9996, but I was not hearing them today. Jerry DX says, Joe got out the couch and said the show must go on. Yeah, pretty much. I was not in the mood for a show yesterday. I was kind of in a relaxed mood. I was like totally not in the mood for let's turn on the live show and be there. And, well, I did it. So, you know. So, okay. HM01 at 10715. XP2 2100 and 16167. And we're going to try that. Radio Romania on 11850. Let's try that. Let's try 13650. 13650 is better for Romania here.
Using Crimea and the access to the entire region in order to extend its power in the Middle East.
According to Adversary, besides military means, Russia also resorts to hybrid threats, such as propaganda, disinformation, and funding one party or another in order to cause division among the states in the region, both at domestic level and in the relations between them. During their two...
So 13650. Radio Romania is better than 11850, but both frequencies are there. Yeah, the Sony 2010 DexFar, that's the king of Sony radios. That was an amazing receiver. Also known as the Sony 2001D. Driver Film Shortwave. Nice to have you here. TOT. In Montreal, do you have radio stores similar to Radio World in Toronto? Nope. We had a few radio stores when I started Shortwave. When I started listening to Shortwave in the 80s, we had Radio Lorenz downtown Montreal. They had a selection of shortwave receivers. They also had a good selection of books that were actually provided by Sheldon Harvey. And so that's a place I hung out a lot. That's a place I hung out and drooled over the Kenwood R5000 until I had my first job and was able to actually purchase one for myself. Purchased a lot of books and learned a lot from those books. There was another one which was an amateur radio store. And that one also shut down in the 90s. There's one thing, I don't know if it's still on. I haven't been there in a long time. There's a place in Montreal called Radio Hofsep. But they are selling used radios. They don't have really new shortwave radios and stuff like that. Actually, I would need to go. I haven't been there in a long time, and it's not that far from here. I should go there and take a peek if they're still there. It's owned by an old man that, like, there's, radios everywhere. It looks more like a flea market than a store. And there's like old radios everywhere that are at prices that are, personally, I find too expensive for the old stuff that he has. But, anyways. So pretty much everything's gone. We don't have, it's a shame because Montreal is a pretty big city. It's a shame we don't have anything anymore. And last time I purchased big radios, like the ICOM back there, the R8500 comes from Radio World. It's the only place, there's even one, I think there was one in Trois-Rivières, which was open, and I think it shut down also. It's getting more and more difficult to find a place where you can purchase radio. I typically buy them online pretty much now because no choice. So the ICOM ICR 8500 comes from Radio World in Toronto. My ICOM ICR 20 comes from one that just shut down, which was the, I forget the name, there was another one in Toronto. They just shut down a couple of months back. And that's where I purchased the R20 because it was the lowest price, $499. No, it's a shame we don't have really any outlets anymore. It's really getting difficult to get something here. Richard Cook says, Voice of Korea 11635 here. Can't hear HM01, or it's not on yet. No, I think it's 2100 for HM01, Richard Cook. Rick Robbins, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to have you on board, my friends. K4YPS. So, are you sure your last name isn't what? If it was, I would not have only an ICOM XTR8500. I'd have the 8600. I'd have tons of very expensive radios here. I can tell you that. Yeah, Sony radios. Most Sony radios. I honestly can't think of a Sony receiver that was bad. Pretty much every Sony receiver sold was a good one, honestly. Roll007MR, nice to have you here. Says, I have USB and LSB on my Texan S880. 0, but what is CW? CW is for Morse code. Typically, when a receiver has CW, that's because you can actually tune it on the real active frequency. Very often, when we tune a radio, most receivers having only single sideband will be using a BFO, or if they have upper and lower sideband separate, will be tuning a little offset to hear Morse code signals. But is there a Morse code signal that I could find here? Let's try 20 meter band. So you hear some Morse code here, and I'm in upper sideband. The actual frequencies of any of these Morse code signals, in reality, you have to tune in CW mode. And CW mode will give you the real frequency you're tuned to for that signal. Plus, I don't know the specs of the S8800, but very often when you have a CW mode, also you have a smaller filter, because CW tends to be really jam-packed close next to each other in the signals. So an example of that is 4XZ, the Israeli station on 6607. If you have upper sideband, you'll tune 6606 upper sideband to hear it, or 6608 lower sideband to hear it. If you have CW, you'll be able to tune 6607, which is its actual frequency, in order to listen to it. So it's really a specific mode for continuous wave, which is Morse code, basically. What else do we have? Dexfar says there is only one radio he wants to have, the AOR AR7030. It is expensive. What I find expensive also about the 7030 is you're buying a expensive receiver that has a plastic casing. I don't know, but when you start past a certain level of price, I expect the casing to be metal. But Somebody says, for people with D-cells powered lunchbox radios, I strongly recommend ODEC 10,000 milliamp hour D-cells, around 27 for a pack of 4, and you are set for a decade. So 27 euros. Simon Templar, nice to have you on board from Portland, Oregon. Nice to have you on board. Yeah, it's been long. I haven't seen you in a while. Nice to have you here. I will try XPA2 in a couple of minutes. 161067. I'll put it there already. So XPA2 is a Russian number station. So we'll see if I'm smack in the middle of a interference from my own stuff. But we'll see if we can hear anything on 16167. What else do we have? So it's nice to have everybody on board. So you're watching the Shortwave show, and pretty nice to have you here. I hear music which sounds Latin. Could it be Radio Havana, Cuba? 11635. Yeah. That. This is not. What is that? 11635. 11635. I've got. So now it's what, 2056. 2021. I've got Voice of Korea, but I've. It's interesting. There's no record of any other things there, according to the IBI space. So could it be Radio Vancouver? That's interesting. 11635. I guess. You know what's interesting? That could be a mistake. Because sometimes they mix up the frequencies. You know, between HM01. 11635, but it does sound like Radio Vancouver. That if I had a choice here, I'd choose Radio Vancouver. So yeah. And you know, HM01 and Radio Vancouver often mess up. So it's a common mistake. So it's, you know, it's definitely I don't, except for Radio Marti, I don't know of any other stations that would play that type of music than Radio Vancouver, honestly. Stay tuned, we'll switch suddenly to HM01. We'll see. We'll see if it does. Fabrice Steven says, to my surprise, I found Brother Stare on 11600. Well, yeah, that's the interval signal. Radio Vancouver's interval signal. Esta es Radio Vancouver. Territorio Libre in America. Haven't heard that one in a while. So that's Radio Vancouver. And so they probably messed up. So let's try 16167. I already have an interference. There's this fly going around that's bugging me. So Radio Vancouver. Yeah, it happened a few times that I had I remember having a Radio Vancouver on some of the frequencies for HM01. And you guys, I don't remember who, somebody was mentioning how they have it, you know, like messed up, and the HM01 was on a, yeah, it's there. It's sweet, but it's there. Let me just notch my interference. There we go. 16167 XPA2. This is Russian number station. We have Bobby Berger says XPA2 starting. MDK2 says very weak in Denver. It's pretty much in the noise here, but I hear it. I hear it well enough. Richard Cook says it's very strong where he is. It's an upper sideband, David Snyder. 16167 USB, upper sideband. That's an interesting patch here. That signal, a very white signal. I don't know what that is. So it's already an hour. You're watching the Shortwave show, where we talk about radio. While we are waiting for the official message. Patreon.com/radio and computers. Join 12 patrons, I believe I have now. And that give me a little something every month. PayPal.me/shortwave or the Yahoo email that you see here. If you want to spare a little change, helps me continue what I do, and helps me continue the live shows, have a lot of fun, and just have a lot of fun doing all of this. And thanks for everybody that donated. And you know, I'm trying to reach out here to people that have never donated before. If you can spare a little something, why not think about it? And thanks for the donations. That was kind of a short message. Take care, Dexpara73, my friend. Yeah, no message today. It was a very quick one. What's the other frequency? There's a the next one is at. I think there's another one we can listen to a little later. We'll try to get it. So yeah, no messages, but it was there. That was kind of cool. Listen to a. Let's try 11635 again. Still Radio Havana, Cuba. Hey there, Fastlow. I say, have you here? So Radio Havana, Cuba. So I guess they messed up the transmitter. Isn't it tonight that Voice of the Report of the Week has a special broadcast on 11580 or something? I'm trying to. I thought I saw that somewhere. So for those that wonder, just want to say that this weekend is a special weekend. Oh, thanks, PLF Radio. We're going to try to tune that XPA2 one in 17 minutes. So I listened to it. It was coming in well yesterday on 5850. I listened to it last night. It's kind of an entertaining broadcast. Voice of the Report of the Week is entertaining. It's the kind of thing that you just leave on, and it's always, always kind of cool. Yeah, 20th anniversary. I'm sure you had a lot of fun. Can't always be shortwave everywhere, You gotta give some time for other things in your life, not just radio, So, starting at 0-100 hours, wait, let me just bring up the page here. So Field Day 2018. Field Day 2018. So, Field Day 2018 is this weekend. Of course, this is the event where people technically should have the possibility to operate in kind of emergency mode. So this all starts at 1800 hours UTC tomorrow, Saturday, and ends at 1800 hours UTC on Sunday. So this is happening this weekend, June the 23rd, 24th. It is the Field Day weekend. It's always kind of an entertaining weekend to listen to. It's fun to see the different stations that are going to operate from different, with different equipment and emergency situations. And some people are operating from solar power, generators, all sorts of makeshift antennas. It's always kind of fun. It's always kind of fun. Indicator says, I know, but it's so hard. Yeah, I know. I remember once having an obligation that I couldn't say no, and being over there and somebody at the table telling me, well, you seem a little far off tonight. You usually are more social. And in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm missing out on one of the yearly transmissions of, I think it was Radio St. Helena. I think it was Radio St. Helena. I was like, yeah, I'm missing out on Radio St. Helena, which is once a year, and the only darn weekend where it has to happen that I have to go out was during Radio St. Helena broadcast. So I was like, yeah, I wish I'd be somewhere else tonight. I mean, I was like, no, it's okay. It's just I was thinking about something. Yeah, I was thinking about Radio St. Helena, damn. Oh, God. Richard Cook's got 137604 Voice of Korea. Pretty cool. PLF Radio sharing the Field Day 2018 weekend information. Thanks for sharing PLF Radio. So Field Day is a nice event on the amateur band. It's everywhere on the amateur band. David Arden says there are other things in shortwave like VHF, UHF. Yeah. And the K2 says I completely missed Wolverine Radio on Father's Day because it was Sunday night and I was doing Father's Day stuff. They were on last night. I saw a post, somebody saying Wolverine was on last night. And I didn't get anything, like a 6930 or something. So, you know. It's just crazy. Yeah, I got a Radio Centilina QSL also, David. Maybe it's here easy to find. I don't know if I can find it quickly. But yes, I do have my St. Helena broadcast QSL card somewhere. And hopefully I can find it quickly. But that was... I miss those things like Radio St. Helena Day. That was cool. And, you know, the odd frequency they were using and not very powerful, you know, it was not very powerful. Oh, man, it was a lot of fun. Am I finding it? I'm probably not going to find it because I want to find it right now. But I got a Radio St. Helena QSL card somewhere. And, unfortunately, as I go faster and faster... Oh, it's here! Wow, look at that. Look at that, guys. Radio St. Helena is right here. This is for the broadcast for October 23rd, 1992, and 2018 UTC, 11092.5 kilohertz. Radio St. Helena. I remember it took 6 or 7 months before I got it. Radio St. Helena. This is so cool. This is so cool. That's one of the price QSLs. This is also a price QSL. Radio Orion on the frequency of 3320. This is South African station, 3320. Anything else? There's Radio Cairo here, Radio Korea here, which is KBS World Radio today. This is such nice, really, really nice to have these memories to keep. Andrew the Exer says, "Lo, I know the feeling. You want to say why you're not your usual self, yet you don't want to say because it's a very geeky reason." Yeah, totally. Yeah, well, I could be home listening to Radio St. Helena on my shortwave radio. And there's the geeky reason, but there's also the other reason of, you know, somebody is going to say, oh, yeah, so you prefer to listen to the radio than come and chat with us tonight. Which, honestly, you want to respond, yes, absolutely. And it's not because I don't love you. It's just, we could have done this next week. And that would have been fine, and I would have been my usual self. Oh well, you know. I remember I had a little recorder. Robert Prosper, why aren't GMT, UTC, and the time in London all in agreement? Well, very simple. So, let's go back a little bit. GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, was the first time they kind of used it because it was the meridian of Greenwich, England. And then they had a more proper name for it, Universal Time Coordinated. Yet, they, you know, universal is very, very, you know, suggestive word. It's something that, you know, it might change. I don't know. I don't think Martians will use UTC time if they come and invade us, but that's another story. What happens is that there's part of the time when UTC and the time in the UK are in agreement. That's when it's winter time. When we go into the summertime, because the UK has, like here in North America, we have the daylight savings times, where we move our clocks ahead 1 hour. That's where the UK is not in agreement with UTC. So basically, what happens is simply because of the daylight savings times thing. Because in the winter time, UTC and UK time are in the same time zone. It's really just during the daylight savings times. UTC does not have anything called daylight savings times. UTC is always the same, 365 days a year. Well, 365 days a week, that would be a hell of a week. So 365 days a year, UTC is always the same, because if they would start playing with UTC, we'd all be messed up. We're already messed up because when we move from regular time to daylight savings time, we always get messed up because of the time change. So, UTC, if you set a clock, that's why I always say, if you are listening to shortwave, set a clock to UTC in your home. Leave it there to UTC all the time. You'll never be messed up. So I've got this big clock, which not only helps for you guys to see what time it is, but also because I just look at that clock when I want to know, what time is it now, UTC. I don't have to do that math again. Because, it happens from time to time. You're tired, and then you just like the math in your head is wrong. And you're like, why am I listening to that station? Why is it's not coming in? And then you realize 15 minutes later, it's like, oh man, I got it wrong. I'm an hour late or early or whatever. By having a UTC clock, that's the best thing. Typically, I always tell everybody, on your shortwave radio, most of the digital shortwave receivers have a clock on it. And I will tell everybody, if you listen to shortwave regularly on the shortwave radio, leave that clock to UTC. I'm sure you got other things that you can check the time in your home. But the radio should have UTC all the time. All of my shortwave receivers here are UTC timed, because that's the only time you use to listen to shortwave. Vancouver Island DXer said, I remember one Radio Centinelino broadcast where a local DXer friend of mine phoned them during the show, and they put, lost it here, and put him on the air. I called, I think it's that one. I think the 1992 QSL I got there, I actually called in from Montreal, Canada. It was really, really nice. One of the funniest moments of calling in, when the internet started to be popular in the 90s, late 90s. My sister that died of cancer, that I already talked about a few years ago. She was listening. We were still on the dial-up. We weren't having, we weren't using, any high-speed internet back then. But she was listening to a stream that was from using, for those who remember, Real Player. And the stream was from the island of Mauritius. It was the Mauritius Broadcasting Corporation. They had a French language show in the morning, and it was called Thé ou Café, which means tea or coffee. And they had call-in from local residents that wanted to say hi to a family member or whatever. And I remember one night, I thought, hey, I'm going to have fun. My sister's listening, I'm listening. I'm going to call in. And I actually called in, and the lady that was doing the show was totally amazed that a guy from Canada called in. And she said, hey, we've got a really special guest on the phone today. We have Jill from Montreal, Canada, calling in saying hello to everybody. And my sister, we were chatting on ICQ back then. My sister, I saw immediately appear, you're on the radio, it's you. It's like, yeah, I'm there. And I thought for a laugh that would be an amazing thing. But you know what? I made that lady's day also, because she was like all excited that somebody from Canada was listening and actually calling in, and it was an amazing moment, an amazing moment. It was totally worth it. It was like just so fun, and I'll always remember my sister, like, posting like, "It's you." Yeah, it's me. David Fodor, nice to have you here. KD9JEO. Elton Byington, nice to have you here. What SDR are you using on the Sony monitor? So Elton, K3JWA in Baltimore. This is the Afedri, AFEDRI, and Afedri SDR. It is a little gray box. It's a long wave, medium wave, short wave, up to 30 megahertz receiver. Very good receiver too. And I'm using it on the network, home network. This is that it has an Ethernet port, so you can connect it on the network. And it's running HDSDR here on Windows 7 desktop computer. And it's really an amazing little receiver. David Arden says some lightning in his area. There goes my shortwave listening. PLF Radio's got 9740, Voice of America. I could check it out just to see it. I don't think there's going to be much here. Oh, there's something weak. There's something very weak, but there's something weak there. Jerry says, should have said, I got a date with Alina. Yeah, that could have. I got a date with Alina. Madrid DX says, my friend, are you all right? You seem a bit quiet. Me, it's just that I am missing an E-skip from Eastern Europe on the FM band. My friend then looks at me as if I have suddenly turned into an alien. I actually remember one time I had tickets. I had purchased the tickets in advance, and for a movie. So we were supposed to be like 5 or 6 friends going to the movies. So I turned on the radio like maybe an hour before I'm about to leave, and suddenly the bands are like alive on 10 meters, 6 meters, and everything. And I'm like, and it's been like a long time since I had heard anything. So I call my friends and say, oh, well, I don't feel well. I'm going to stay home tonight. I stayed home DXing 6 meter band and 10 meters. And they're all like, oh, next day it's like, oh, do you feel better? Oh, yeah, much better today, much better today. And it's funny because I called in the theater and I said, can I have a refund for a ticket that's unused? And I remember the theater saying, oh, yeah, we know if it's used or not. We don't refund, but you can exchange it for another ticket for a movie. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll exchange it for something else. And finally, I ended up going alone at the theater to see that movie that night, the next night. And I was like, yeah, well, I don't feel well. But I felt a little bad because I was like, yeah, okay, I really trade in an evening with friends at the movie for 6 meter DX. Now that is difficult to be more geeky than that. What's the frequency? 14663. Yeah, it's here. Hey, X1080Xer, nice to have you here, Keegan. MK2 says Radio Havana, Cuba still on HM01's frequency at 2112. Kind of interesting. Richard Cook's got Pyongyang 9665. So this is XPA2 14663 upper sideband. It is a Russian number station. So you're hearing an national signal from Russia right now. Yeah, David, no problem there. It's been a while now. She died. My sister died in 2011. Already 7 years. Time. No messages. They ended quickly. So that's kind of fun. Receiving XPA2. Pretty good signal too. Do you like, so Shakarilum, nice to have you here. Do you like C-Crane radios? I've never purchased one. What I see in the comments and of the people using them, they seem to be pretty good radios. You know, if I had one comment, but you know, it's very relative also. If I had one comment, you know, because of Chinese Texan receivers that are often lower priced and still very good, it does kind of change your view of what the price of a shortwave radio is. I find it a little expensive, but they seem to be great radios. I've not had anyone say that they were bad. Hey, McGlone, nice to have you here. Extended the Extra says had E-skip here on Tuesday the 19th. So includes 3 relogs and 1 new log from Regina, Saskatchewan to my location. Wow, pretty cool. That is pretty cool. E06 5731 USB AM at 2130. That one I won't be able to listen to. The message are identical. 2140 message will also be a null. And that's at 13923 at 2140. So we'll try to remember that. We'll try to tune in. Kind of fun to follow these number stations. Wish there were you know, like the good old Lincolnshire poacher, you know. Richard says Z06 might be on 5740. So yeah, these are too low frequencies. Do you like them, McGlone? Your 3 C-Crane radios, do you like them? I'm pretty sure you must like them probably, but PLF radio says 9740 kilohertz, Voice of America, great signal. So it's pretty nice, pretty nice. I had 6-meter opening this week. I did one video on the VHF band, but I got a problem. I got to open my ICOM. I don't know why. The F connector for the antenna, I think it's an F connector, is slack. I think I need to do the solders again on the radio itself, which is an easy job for the ICOM because it's you know, they're spaced out. But I have to do them this week because next Friday is the VHF show and it has to work. So this week I'm gonna have to do that for sure. Hey D-Raf, nice to have you here. I DX today at Vanderbilt Mansion State Park with my bug out bag in Hyde Park, New York. Lots of fun. I'm sure you had lots of fun. I need to go to Perry Island next week. I always say next week, and there's like I got tons of things happening, and I find it sad that I don't take the time to do it enough. But next week gotta go. Tuesday and Wednesday, I think next week they're like announcing like 80 plus Fahrenheit, like, you know, 27, 28, even 30 degrees Fahrenheit, Celsius. So next week I gotta go to Perry Island and do my first D-expeditions. So McGlone says he likes them. I've had pretty much mostly positive comments of the C-Crane. Sugar Alum says, how can I listen to shortwave on my computer? Sorry, I'm coming back to the hobby after 20 years. Well, if you want to do it from your home, so if you want to listen to shortwave, but also stay you know, listening from your own area, you get an SDR, software-defined radio. I've got a Fedry here, but depending on the price you want to pay, you can get something as, I don't know if I have it here quickly, I don't see it, but Soft 66 is a very low-cost way of getting into the shortwave listening with your computer. If you are coming back into the hobby, Shakarolum, and you don't have a a radio and want to kind of tune in, what you could do is go to sdr.hu, sdr.hu, and that is the software-defined receivers online. There are receivers all over the world. You can actually tune in. So you can use that and tune in the bands from different parts of the world. You know, for somebody that's not sure about the hobby and everything, I think it's a nice alternative because it kind of puts you into the, shows you what's to listen. One of the problems with SDR.hu is you'll be accustomed to receivers that are very sensitive, that receive a lot of signals, which might be a different thing when you get a radio at home because of the noise levels. But you can get one of those receivers. There's a little more expensive. There's the SDR Pro, SDR Play Pro, stuff like that are great little receivers for shortwave and usually they're wideband receivers, so you can go into the VHF, UHF spectrum also. Moi j'aime. Nice to have you here. Now, Maglone, now you know when a radio is old, when you get TV channel presets where you can listen to the audio of TV channels. That tells you of the age of a radio. Keegan says, also had an unidentified French language station on 88.9. Oh, that's interesting. That's nice. Oh, cool. Monjem says, I got Vietnam last night on shortwave for the first time. So it's pretty cool. Did you listen to the 7315 frequency? That's where it usually comes in North America. That's pretty much where it is. Let's so there's something here. What are these? That's what I like about the SDR. You see these signals appear everywhere when you're tuning in. So let's go down a little bit. Let's see anything else. Anything else? Something there. Kilo 8 Yankee Echo. 14232 upper sideband. There's a station there. EA3 Japan Echo from Spain. That guy is always strong. But this one is from Spain. Barcelona, Spain. 14232 upper sideband. So 14232 upper sideband, that station from Spain and Barcelona. So pretty cool. UK2 says yes, but it's worth tuning in to see how the signal. Yeah, because it's going to be a null, but it's still going to be there's still going to be a little signal there, so you can actually check out the signal levels. It is interesting to check that out. Having a known signal from a known region or a known area, and try out its different frequencies, because it's kind of fun to see the different propagation you get from the frequencies you'll listen to. So, for example, we've heard 16167 was here. I could hear it. 1463 was better. And maybe 13923 will be even better. So that's going to be interesting, It's always nice to see how it goes. You could always try E06 and SDR in Europe. Yeah, I could, Richard. Absolutely. But I'll try to keep it. We'll see a little later. What else do we have? Hashem says, finally received my Texan 660 from Amazon. Cool. Anthony, nice to have you on board. We just moved to a new home not long ago. tower and all the antennas had to come down. I'm having withdrawals from listening to your radio. Man, Anthony, it's like, I remember when I moved here, two things happened when I moved here. I was living in a very quiet place, and it's sad because you take for granted when you got a great DX spot. It's easy to take it for granted because for some reason in your head you start thinking that the signal quality, signal levels you've got are what you'll get everywhere. So when I was at the old address, I could listen in DX, literally DX. It was quiet enough that I could really DX. I moved here. First thing I noticed is how the noise level was so much higher. So much higher. And when that happened, when I moved here, I actually got kind of a down. I was sad to see that I could not receive as many signals suddenly. And you don't check that. I mean, when you move, you don't bring along your radios and start looking at the noise level. Well, your apartment looks good, but the noise level's too high. I'm not gonna rent. I imagine the landlord looking at you like, what the hell are you talking about? And it's something I didn't think about it back then. I would think maybe about it more now, but even though I don't think there's that many places anymore that the noise level is low anywhere in a big city. So I moved in here and I gotta say I had kind of a withdrawal symptom of, not listening to shortwave signals like I used to. And having the 60-meter band where there were still a few signals that I could hear washed out by noise, and I was sad. And I gotta say, I would say that I moved here in 2000. I would say in the first 3 or 4 years, I probably almost didn't listen to any shortwave. I was so bummed out by the noise that I just said the hell with it. I can't listen here. And you got to remember that the noise level was lower than what I have right now. And I'm much more active right now than I ever was, because at some point you got to understand that, the noise level ain't going to change, and it's not going to go for the better. One thing that I'm actually dreadful about, in a week's time, we got 2 new neighbors here. The people downstairs are moving, the young guys. Thank God, because they were like hell. It's a lady and a man, like an old lady, moving in. Next door, where it was a 93-year-old lady, it's a young couple that's moving in. And what I'm scared of is, what technology will they bring with them that might make the noise worse for my listening? That's going to be interesting. Let's cross our fingers. So you got to not take for granted the noise level where you are, because it's just crazy. David in Barcelona, EA3JE from Barcelona, always a top-notch signal. In the evening, he's on 40 meters almost all night. Just crazy. Keegan had WWV on 25 megahertz at 2317, June 20th. Strong. Yeah, maybe probably Sportic E-Skip. Majem says father from Barcelona. Cool. So E06 has a message on 5740, very strong where he is. PLF Radio says he hears 14232 upper sideband. Bobby says, I'd like to get emergency action messages again. You tune in on the frequencies, and there's a lot of them. Take care, my Jim. Always nice to have you here. See you later. Always nice to have you on board, my friends. And Radio DXer says, when I left shortwave radio in the late 90s because I moved to a place with lots of noise, I did not miss it. But when I moved some years later to a new place and tried a shortwave radio, there was no noise. And the hobby was back like never before. Huh. Vancouver Island DXer says, even if there is little noise when you look at a potential new home, it could be that you just happen to be there on a good day when the neighbor with the arc welder was not at home. Yeah, that is possible. That is totally possible. So 13923, let's tune in that. Let's listen to that Barcelona station for a minute before I tune in the XBA2.
November 9, kilometers QSL. Yes, CO9, and the question also, my call is number 3, 123, my call QSL. Roger, that's okay. Second and 73. Easy America 3, Japan Echo, North American. November 1, Radio Japan, please go.
So a amateur station from Barcelona, Spain. 14232 upper sideband. And now let's tune 13923 upper sideband. 13923 upper sideband. We'll see if we can hear XPA2 Russian number station on that frequency, which I guessed it would come in because we heard it on 14663. So we'll put it here for now. Gary Horobin, nice to have you on board from Tokyo. Early morning Tokyo, Saturday time. So we got somebody from the future here. Nice to have you here. MDK2 says a pirate reported by East Coast listeners on the HF Underground at 6940 upper sideband. Nothing out west. Just quickly go there. Anything here? I don't hear and don't see any signals on 6940. So, will we hear XPA2? Will we hear XPA2? Moderator the Xer. Hey, here it is. Oh yeah, that's the ham I keep saying he stole in the Radio Exterior de España transmitter. Pretty good signal, this one. So this is XBA2, and this is a Russian number station. Very strong signal here too. 13923. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. We're making it easy for them. They don't have to listen to shortwave. They're just watching my stream. The guy stream in Montreal says there's no message. No matter. Let's continue drinking our vodka. It is amazing when you think about it. You know, we're tuning a frequency where it's, you know, a possible spy number station where we're kind of in the middle of a diplomatic thing here, where some people, some spies somewhere are getting these messages, and we're in the middle of all the action. We're really in the middle of all the action. Hey there, George in the UK. Nice to have you here. We're running a Japan Radio Corporation JRC 545. Great radio. Jerry DX got 13923 S7 on the R30. Still happy with your R30, Jerry? It's moving up to S9, sometimes even more than S9. Pretty strong one. And there we go. We just heard another number station. Mysteries of shortwave. This is really the mysteries of shortwave, these number stations. How many beers did I drink? Okay, 2. I feel like I feel tipsy like if I had 3 or 4. But I gotta say I started drinking 30 minutes before the show, that's why. But still I'm only at number 2. So I'm keeping up with my usual 1 an hour. So Jerry says, very happy with the R30. Lots to learn. Yeah, it's a complex receiver. These are very complex radios. And I hope the manual is well done, because the biggest problem that the R20 had is that the manual was completely, it was so bad. The manual on the R30 was so bad, the R20, sorry, was so bad that a lot of people watched some of my videos because they said, you know what, I don't understand a thing about the manual, but I understand your videos explaining how to do things. And, I probably should have done more videos on that, because they're some of the most popular videos I've got online. People not understanding how the R20 works. But the problem is, it's not because people don't understand. It's really because the manual was horrible. I don't know who did the manual, but it was like the most horrible thing. Yes, the R30 is out, PLF radio. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, kind of nice. So you're watching the Shortwave Radio Show, coming to you from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Hope you're enjoying yourselves, everyone. And we are, of course, talking about radio, as usual. Tuning the bands. JDX says, did a firmware update. The manual was a bit confusing. Did it my way, and it worked. Yeah. Torvidas Lagudavicius, nice to have you here. And yes, absolutely. I've got my. I'm fin du monde today. I'm not fancy today. Fin du monde. The triple Belgian ale, 9%. My usual self, in good ice cold water, because it just is great. Take care, PLF Radio. Nice to have you on board. So it's kind of nice. Thank you, Tobias. And it's nice to see you on the chat. And once again, PayPal.me/shortwave, the Yahoo email you see here, Patreon.com/radio and computers, places where you can actually do a little something if you wish to help me out. And it's always nice to have everybody on board. And it's always nice to have everybody watching. Hope you're enjoying the show, by the way, guys, because it's always a lot of fun to do, and it's not always, easy to be here all the time. And I want to thank everybody that has donated in the past. It's always welcomed. Always kind of looking for, new donators, people that are gonna they've never given anything and they could spare a little change. Anything helps, by the way. It doesn't have to be really special. Thanks for the donations, guys. I'm not sure, PLF Radio. I, for now, consider there's no show tomorrow. For now, consider there's no show tomorrow. And if I do, I'll try to announce it early. Cairo 9800 says Bobby Burgess. Let's check it out. I do hear it, and I do hear the music, but it's not very strong. 9800 kilohertz, Radio Cairo. Music seems to be not too bad. Not too bad. So anything interesting on the bands, Richard? Let's turn around a little bit. And see what's on the bands. Jerry says D-Star is fun to listen to. Crystal clear reception from around the world. Pretty cool. Gary Horman says, I have an Alinco DX-R8 and Yaesu FT857. Great receivers. Well, great receiver and transceiver. Let's start at, I don't know. let's quickly go from 20 megahertz. You know, I mean, Solarflake is higher. Let's check out what's there. Let's see if we can hear anything here. Anything on the bands right now that I can tune to. So, nothing much here. 17850. Well, Spain, not strong, but Spain's there on 17855. With some music. So that's Spain on 17855. Let's check out if anything else is on the bands. A lot of signals. There's something on 15825. 2 seconds, guys. I want to. I'm just gonna go check if Paul the cat wants to come in because he's been out for about 3 hours now.
Hay mamás que estamos muy abocadas a objetivos de vida, que limpien el cuarto, que ordenen la casa, que hagan bien tal o cual cosa. Y producto de esa tarea que tenemos en mente, ofendemos, lastimamos, dañamos, y sí, seguramente tenemos la razón, pero ¿qué hacemos con tener la razón si estamos perdiendo la relación? Entonces, nunca pierda de vista que la relación con tu hija es más importante que ese poco de cosas. No significa que no pongan límites, no significa que no pongan normas, pero vuelvo al punto uno. Elige las batallas realmente que quieres pelear.
Una mamá me escribió recientemente y me dijo,
So Paul the cat is
aparece una isla,
somewhere
comunica
outside,
conmigo, no me quiere hablar.
enjoying the beautiful weather. So 15825 is probably WWCR out of Nashville, Tennessee. Want some advice on antenna. Of course, with these types of receivers, you want to have an outdoor antenna coming into your home with a coax. But you start out with, an outdoor wire maybe and see how it performs. But bring it inside with a coax because you want to have that shielding of the interference from inside your home. So that's one of the things that you want. But if you want to invest in more, you can get things like Wellbrook's loops or the W6 LVP loop that seem to lower the noise level. Dave in Ohio, nice to have you here. Going to be hard to beat yesterday's show with the winter BBC broadcast. Well, it's a different kind of show, And I suppose already it's kind of cool because we've listened to 3. We noticed that Radio Venezuela had a glitch and didn't put its number station on. They actually put Radio Venezuela, and we heard 3 frequencies of the Russian number station. So I think it's not bad of a day at all. Bobby Burgess says 17855 strong. Nothing on 17855 for Richard Cook in the UK, but he does have 15825. Keegan says 17855 moderate to weak. MDK2 RE 15855 fair in Denver. Keegan says 25 megahertz WWV heard a minute ago. So wow, okay. DRAF 17855 strong in Kingston, New York. Cool. Romania in Spanish on 15670. Do I have anything here? I don't. Let's move this a little higher here. I do not. Well, I have it very weak. It's there, but it's very weak. We got Spain on 15520. It's a little stronger than it was on 17855. So Spain on 15520 with music. Spain 15. Depends. The W6 LVP loop is something like $199 for the reception loop. The Wellbrook's more expensive, like goes for the $300 to $400. You can build your own also. There are some plans for the magnetic loops on the internet if you feel like you want to make one yourself, and that's going to cost you very little, and could be very interesting and fun project to do. I've been looking at making one maybe. I'd like to try that out. Richard Cook's got Radio Voice of Korea on 15245. It's nice to have everybody here. What else do we have on the bands right now? We've got. Let's go down. Nothing much right now. Something weak on 15140. Something weak on 15120. Not a lot of stuff right now. Let's go back to the 20 meter band. Let's check out the 20 meter band. So we've got that Spanish station. That's on 14249. Let's see what we can hear there. 14249. 20 meter band does have quite a few signals there. What's that?
Most of us are retired men, and we like competition. Competition is very good for the spirit, Okay, I'll see you on CW. That's my first love also. Bye-bye, ciao, grazie.
Sounds like an Italian station. 14183 upper sideband.
I go to my dinner now, and this is Palm Frequency from Italy. Bye, thank you, and bye-bye.
It is Italy. You just said Italy. The 14183 upper sideband Italian station. Sorry. Station on some station on 14266.6 upper sideband. 14266.65 upper sideband. Bobby Burgess 15520 strong as well. Gary Harbin says he's hearing 11990 strong Asian station. Richard Cook's got 13760 as well for Voice of Korea. Sandy the Expert 12,000 moderate to strong, fading at times, not distorted. Yeah, that's Radio Havana, Cuba. You know when they talk too fast? That's one thing I hate. When they talk too fast, when they give the phonetics. Yeah, Jerry, 14232 is that station in Barcelona, Spain. Let's check out 10715. Oh, that's one strong. Trim 01, Cuban numbers, 10715.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
So, one of the strongest signals I've heard in a long time for 10715, I got to say. So, Ludburgis says, hope to get 20 meters per hour. Yeah, surely. I mean, with the field, the amateur radio fielding is going to be cool. It's always cool. Always cool. So, just check it out here. Okay, sorry. I was distracted by somebody texting me about a little question. So, Richard Cook says 10715, not too bad. Keegan says 10715 jumps around. Signal strong to moderate to weak. Fading at times. Cool. Gary Horobin says 40 meters busy in Japan. Yeah, must be a lot of stuff there. I was tuning in the other day. I tuned in, I believe, is a Tokyo SDR, and was listening in. I decided to tune in what the amateur radio bands looked like, and I tuned in. I believe it's 80 meters because it was like nighttime there, so I tuned 80 meters, 40 meters. It was interesting to see the activity there. Lots of stations from Asia. It's always nice. Richard Cook's got BPM, the Chinese time station on 10,000 kilohertz. Let's try the time station. CHU 3330. Very weak. 7850. Forget it. Let's try WWV. I don't think I'll hear that, but let's try it. 25. 20. 15. 10. Wow, these the time stations aren't coming in really well. 14996 CW for oops. CW. ORWM here. ORWM coming in. 9760.
Channel 1. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms.
Yeah, Gary, SDR.hu is really the best.